YouTube, it's your boy FPL man, and I'm back here with a brand new video. Today I've got for you my Game Week 21 team review, as well as my Game Week 22 team selections and some transfer plans. We're also going to be looking at the fixture ticker and see what are the upcoming fixtures and what plus to target depending on the blank and the double game weeks that are coming up. So without further ado, let's dive in. So there you have it. As you guys can see, your boy had an insane green arrow in Game Week 21. Total 96 points, almost 100-point club. I went from 39k in the world to 12k, almost top 10k. That's ridiculous green arrow. And it's all thanks nothing but my differential in Foden. This was my Saka replacement, while everyone else went for the likes of Odegaard, Bruno Fernandes, X, Y, and Z. Meanwhile, your boy went with Foden, as well as Amad Diallo, the absolute GOAT, the superstar. That's what I call my star boy, the future of Manchester United. One of the best players in the league, and definitely he has the potential to be world class. I mean, my goodness, hat trick. Listen, like people are gonna hate on it and whatnot, say, oh, there's a jammy fluky in the last 5 minutes and whatnot. But let the haters hate. But ultimately, this guy's class, and the fact that he came with a hat trick is insane. When a lot of people actually went the other way and bought in Bruno Fernandes. So I'm honestly extremely happy with both Phil Foden and Ahmad. They have absolutely smashed it. And then I also had Isak, who actually did bang, but he's a template pick. And a lot of people actually did captain him. So his points slightly hurt my rank. As you guys can see, his EO was quite high, but I'm pretty pleased with Palmer captain, 20 points. I mean, he could have had more. Jackson just kept on stinking it up, missing sitters after sitters, and he's got 4 points with a yellow card. You know how Jackson is. Really disappointed with him. And he got Mateta, who I did bring in for Jesus. So as you guys know, I was looking at both Chris Wood and Mateta, and they both actually, scored. And Chris Wood outscored Mateta by 1 point, but I'm not too mad. Mateta does have really good fixtures coming up. Plus, I can also bring in Chris Wood for Jackson if I need to. Ultimately, both were good options, and I'm pretty pleased with Mateta as well. 8 points, can't complain too much. And then Hall keeps on, being consistent, getting clean sheets or attacking returns. He's really consistent. It's really hard for people that don't have him to now also get him, because a lot of people have made commitments to the Forest defense and the likes of Palace defense as well as Fulham. So people are kind of scrambling to, bring in Hall, and his price is going up to almost 5 million now. So listen, I mean, I'm glad I was ahead of the curve in that sense. And last but not least, the expensive defenders are not delivering, man. Like Trent has been extremely disappointing. So is Gabriel. He did actually score a bullet header, but it deflected off, I think, Solanke. Now, ultimately, they didn't even give an assist. So there's a bit of, I guess, disputes around that. Personally, with the way I saw it, I thought, he did get a touch and it deflected off Solanke. So he should get an assist at least. But, the Tower Boys, they didn't give him the assist for whatever reason it may be. At the moment, it does look quite dim on Arsenal defense. They are considering, although they're not considering a lot of XGC, but at the same time, they're considering those 1 or 2 fluky goals. And it is costing me. I have almost like over 12.5 million invested in them. Like, I gotta consider on maybe taking one of them out, but it's difficult. They do have pretty good fixtures coming up. So, yeah, I gotta think about it and see what I do with that. Maybe I get a fourth defender and see if there's a good rotation there. But when you have a Gabriel, Trent, how do you bench them? They're too good to bench. So overall, really happy with the game week. My differentials finally banked. I was waiting for Foden's big hole, and he finally delivered. I'm really pleased with this game week. Alhamdulillah, thank God. Finally a big green arrow. Let's hope that we can keep pushing, and get to top 10k come game week 22. So let's move on to now game week 22 transfer plan. So here are the transfer plans for game week 22. I'm currently looking at, to be honest, spoiler alert, I've already taken out Jackson for Chris Wood. He was really disappointing. Like I've mentioned this in previous videos. Like he keeps on meeting these easy chances, whether it be 1v1 or whether it be 2 yards from the goal, empty net, he just skies it, or he shoots at the keeper. There's always something. Like he's just a poor finisher, and we knew this. It was just that his early season form, like from game week 1 to 10, it made me think that maybe he's improved his finishing, where he was scoring quite a few goals. Now it looks like he's gone back to his old self, what we know him for, is Darwin 2.0, of getting a lot of XGC chances or XGI chances, but not converting them. On the other hand, Chris Wood, who I have replaced him with, spoiler alert, he gets one chance, one goal, one touch, one goal. So he's very efficient, and when he does get a goal, he gets 3 bonus points. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, like Jackson is not justifying his price point for 8.1 or 2 million, whatever it was. For him to just not get returns or get like 4 or 3 points, like that's not good enough in my opinion. Whereas Chris Wood, who was like 6.8, delivering week in, week out, 9 pointers or 12 pointers. So it was almost a no brainer move. Although Jackson has a good fixture on paper and Wolves, but ultimately, I'm happy. Like, I don't think I can't get trapped by this fixture thing. Like, the guy's just not delivering. So I ultimately pulled the trigger. Chris Wood has a really good entry point in Southampton, who did actually concede 3 to United. So they're quite a poor defense. Let's hope Chris Wood can bang. And Jackson, if he does anything, all the best to the owners. But I don't wish him any luck anymore. He's no longer in my team. And then there's a second transfer I'm looking to do is to bring in Nico Williams. This whole season, I've avoided Forest defense. I do not know why. I think that's a skill issue. They've been one of the best defense in the league, and they're keeping clean sheets versus almost like from whether it be Liverpool's or City. Like they could keep it clean versus anyone. Like I know Liverpool scored one goal, but Forest could have easily kept it clean. Like moving forward, the fixtures are maybe difficult, but at the same time, I can see some clean sheets. Like Southampton is a very good entry point for Nico Williams, and it's only 4.3 million. So he has a very good rotation with Lewis Hall. So when Hall is a tough fixture, I can just play Nico Williams, so or vice versa. Now, Southampton home is a fixture that's really tempting me. I have not made this transfer, but that fixture makes me think that he can potentially get a double-digit hold due to the fact that he's really attacking and he has a assist threat as well as, of course, clean sheet because Forest is such a good defense. And I'm also looking at like blank game week 29. I'm not looking to free hit in that game week. And he has a really good fixture in Ipswich. I know that's quite further away, but at the same time, it's not too far away. And even one of Brighton or Fulham, or I wouldn't be shocked if he keeps a clean sheet in one of those fixtures as well. So if I can see 3 or 4 clean sheets in the next 8 game weeks, that's more than justified for his price, 4.3 million. Like that's a rotation piece. So I may pull the trigger on that. I'm not too sure yet, or I may roll the transfer. Currently, I have 2 transfers. I've already used one to bring in Chris Wood for Jackson. The other one I may or I may not use for Nico Williams. So let me know what you guys think if you would do this move. And now let's move on to game week 22 team selection. So this is how I'm lining up for game week 22. I'm lining up with Raya, Gabriel, Nico Williams, and Trent at the back. Williams is obviously the transfer has not been confirmed, but I'm 90% leaning towards that move. If I do make that move, though, I do have a benching headache between whether to bench Gabriel or Lewis Hall. I currently do have Hall on the bench due to the fact that they did consider a lot of chances versus Wolves, and I guess like on paper, Arsenal does have a better fixture, but they're both good attacking teams, both Villa as well as Bournemouth. Now, it will be a very close call. Maybe one of the situations where I make that decision on the deadline day. But another thing to note, I do have both Gabriel and Raya. There's 2 defenders, so I could maybe justify benching Gabriel because I already have the Arsenal defense covered. And they have been conceding those unlucky goals recently. So listen, it's a close call, but overall, it's a good headache to have. So happy with the back line. Trent, Brentford away. They could concede, but I can't justify benching him. Like there's too much attacking potential for him, and he's 7 million, so it's difficult to bench him. And then moving on to the midfield, you got Salah, Palmer. The captaincy debate is so close this week. It's 50-50 for me. Brentford and Wolves, both good fixtures. I'm currently leaning towards Palmer, although my advice is on him, but that could easily change come the deadline. The reason why I'm leaning towards him, though, is to the fact that he has Wolves, and we just saw what happened to them versus Newcastle. They conceded a ton of chances, and they probably have one of the worst defense in the league after Southampton. So Palmer might get the captaincy armband. I'm not too sure yet. But one thing to note, they're both good captain this week. And obviously the outside shout is Chris Wood, who has Southampton at home. But that's really if you want to take a risk and you want to be punty. I personally don't recommend it. My recommendation is either Salah or Palmer. Whichever one you pick, you can't go wrong with it. But yeah, moving on, Foden and Ahmad, my superstars last week, they just absolutely killed it. So I hope they can continue this week. Ipswich is a good fixture for Foden. Is he a buy now? I don't think so, considering his fixture is going to turn soon. But if you have the money in the bank and if you got luxury moves to make, potentially. But yeah, I feel like you kind of maybe missed the boat on this one. But it is what it is. Ahmad, I do think he's still a buy though. Like Brighton at home and then upcoming fixtures are really good. There's only 5.5 million. If you don't have United asset, you can definitely buy him. And I do recommend it. Now, for me this week, obviously Brighton at home, I feel like it is a good fixture for United because Brighton does have a leaky defense. And ultimately, Ahmad has shown what he can do versus Southampton with a hat trick. And throughout the season, like I think this is his breakout season. He's really our star boy, in my opinion. He's one of the brightest talents in our team. So he has so much potentials. I'm happy to own him. Moving on to the forward, as I said, new addition to my team, Chris Wood, who I already confirmed that transfer. He's playing Southampton at home. Potentially a differential captain's shout, but it's too risky for me. I do hope that he bags a hat trick. And those who captain him, all the best to you. And then Mateta, West Ham away, good fixture on paper. I did bring him in. There was a bit of risk in bringing him, but he did already deliver. So I hope he can continue to deliver versus West Ham, which is a good fixture. And we saw they still have a poor defense. I think Fulham scored 2 or 3 goals versus them. So there is a potential for some attacking returns. And finally, Isak, Bournemouth at home. I mean, maybe a captaincy shout considering his form. Like he's in ridiculous form right now. But I just feel like Bournemouth, I do have a bit of respect for the defense as well as their team. So I wouldn't personally go there, but I wouldn't blame someone if they were to do that because he's in a ridiculous form. He scored like what 12 games in a row now. So he's in an insane form. And on the bench, of course, I have Fabianski, Enzo, Hall, and Greaves. As I already said, Hall, I don't like benching him. He's gonna be so highly on, and if he does bang, I'm gonna be upset. So let's see if I do make this Nico Williams move and if I wanted to bring that headache on. Let me know what you guys think. Overall, the team does look good. I do have one free transfer in the bank. If I make the Nico Williams move, I would have zero. But yeah, overall, pretty pleased with the team. And now let's move on to the fixture ticker and see what players you can potentially buy. So looking at the fixture tickers, I think the one thing stands out to me is the obviously first and foremost, I would say the Palace boys. They have West Ham, Brentford, really two good fixtures. If you don't have any Palace attackers, I think maybe you still consider maybe having one. They do seem to turn their form around. They've won the last 5 games in a row or something. So the only thing with that though is that they do blank in game week 29. So I would consider that if you're if you already have too many guys like from Newcastle and Liverpool. I don't know if you want to get too many players from Palace as well, because then you might be building your team towards a free hit in blank game week 29, which is not the best use of your free hit in my opinion. And then I would say the another team that stands out to me is obviously Liverpool. Like they got great fixture in Brentford. If you're looking at the likes of Jota or Diaz or Gakpo, I don't recommend any of them personally. I think there's too much rotation risk. But if you want to take a punt on them and you're targeting the double, maybe Gakpo is a good shout, considering the fact that he's playing Brentford, Ipswich, and the double, of course, which includes Everton and Bournemouth, and followed up by Wolves. Like the next 5 fixtures are ridiculously good. So I guess you can go there. I think my opinion on Newcastle, there's still good fixtures to target. You can still buy Gordon, Murphy, Hall, whoever you want. It's just that they are definitely going to black in 29. So do you have plan for that? Make sure that you roll enough transfers to maybe take out 1 or 2 Newcastle assets as well as Palace assets. And last but not least, United assets, as I said, I think Ahmad is a buy. If you want to buy Bruno, even potentially he's a buy too. I think our fixtures are quite good as well. And I think even Spurs, like you can buy like Solanke or even Kulu. They have great fixtures coming up too. So these are the teams that I'll target for maybe attacking plays. In terms of defenders, I would say Forest defense for sure. Target them. Nico Williams is a good shout as I'm looking to buy him. Not United defense. I don't really trust us defensively that much. Liverpool like defense for sure. Kanate, Van Dijk, Trent, whoever you like. Alisson, Ivan, because they have double coming up. And last but not least, obviously Everton guys. You can get Mikalenko for their double, or even a Pickford, right? If you like them. And I'd say Brighton assets potentially not a buy because they're not. I guess they won the game versus Ipswich, so they may be. And Warbeck is back as well, so they may turn their form around. But I want to see more of them. And finally, Brentford. I'll say from next week we're gonna start loading up on the Brentford assets. The likes of Wilson and Boomer will become an option, so watch out for them. As well as Aston Villa from next week. They have West Ham, Wolves, and Ipswich. Great fixture run. I'm looking at bringing maybe Rogers. I do really like him, and I miss him from my team. So those 3 fixtures are tempting me. So let's see come game week 23. I may potentially buy Rogers as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I want to see you guys next week. Peace out.